Welcome to this edition of In Depth for a closer look at what's making mining headlines in the Americas. Khan Resources, a Canadian junior mining company with uranium assets in Mongolia, is heading to court after the government there said its mining and exploration licenses have been invalidated. Mining Weekly's deputy editor for North America, Lizzo, who is based in Toronto, joins me to discuss this issue. Welcome, Lizzo.
Hello, Martin.
Lizzo, what is actually being disputed here?
Well, Martin, as you said, this junior Khan Resources based in Toronto, they've just recently announced that subsidiaries of the company have had mining and exploration licenses in Mongolia invalidated. And the company says the reason that was given by the government is that there were non-compliance issues that were identified by officials from the Mongolian government at the site early, actually kind of in the first half of last year, that haven't been dealt with yet. For example, one of the issues I think was that the company hadn't registered its reserves, which it's supposed to do. Now, Khan says that as far as it understands, all those issues were dealt with. In fact, it says it's been trying to register those reserves, just that's the one issue, since 2007. So the company really is saying that there is no reason for these licenses to have been invalidated. Now, there is one other thing, is that Khan recently agreed to be acquired by a Chinese company, China National Nuclear Corp, or CNNC. And earlier this week, the Nuclear Energy Agency in Mongolia put up a statement on its website saying, actually, the reason that it's taken the licenses away is that the law in Mongolia requires companies to notify the government if there's going to be a change in control or some kind of restructuring when they have nuclear or uranium assets in the country. So there seems to be a little bit of confusion about what's going on, but Khan says that in the next couple of days it's going to launch an appeal in the Mongolian courts to appeal the decision, and they say they're willing to go by whatever legal means possible. They're willing to pursue their rights. They'll go to international arbitration if necessary.
So is that really all there is to it?
Well, you would think that would be enough, to be honest, but Khan is saying that they think that there's actually something else going on behind the scenes. The CEO of the company told me what he thinks is happening is that it's Russian influence in Mongolia, leaning on Mongolia to open up their uranium resources and deposits to the Russians to come back in. Obviously, Mongolia's got two very big, strong neighbors, China and Russia. And the history of a lot of the uranium mining in Mongolia is that these, including Khan's project, their Dornot project, is that it was actually originally discovered and mined by Russians. So just to make things more complicated, Khan's they own 100% of of an exploration license right next to the project, but the project itself, the Dornot project, is Khan holds 58% of it, and then the remaining, there's 21% stakes that are actually held by a Mongolian state-owned company and a Russian state-owned company. And then to complicate matters further, the parent of this Russian company, the Russian uranium mining company ARMZ, last year launched a hostile bid for Khan Resources. Khan rejected it as too low and opportunistic, and then that is actually what led Khan to go seeking this Chinese offer for the company. So it all kind of gets a bit convoluted, but essentially what Khan's saying is they believe there's Russian political pressure on Mongolia to effectively squeeze Khan out, so that Mongolia and Russia can develop the project together. They actually, the two countries last year, to quite a bit of fanfare in the region, signed a joint venture agreement on just generally uranium exploration and development, but quite tellingly, the name of the joint venture agreement was the Dornot joint venture. So that's all obviously just making Khan pretty nervous about this whole situation.
I see. And does this affect the Chinese takeover bid in any way?
Well, not as far as Khan says. Their company says that the bid stands. And in fact, they say that they would hope that the Chinese partners or Chinese suitors that they have would also be sort of lending whatever influence they have in Mongolia to try and get what Khan sees as the rule of law upheld, and so that they can maintain their licenses. But on the other hand, the day that Khan made the announcement, that the licenses have been invalidated. The stock, obviously, this isn't the sort of thing investors like to hear. The stock really fell. And it actually fell well below, I think it was about 40% below the value of the CNNC offer. So that sort of gives you an idea of what investors are thinking that of the prospects or the likelihood that the offer will go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, this is not the first time that a Canadian company has made headlines for its troubles in Mongolia.
That's right. It's been a pretty big story for the last several years. A company called Ivanhoe Mines out of Vancouver. They had a big copper gold project, or they still do. It's called Oyu Tolgoi. And really, after a lot of wrangling, a lot of kind of governments changing in Mongolia, laws changing in Mongolia, they eventually, as you know, they got an investment contract signed with the government of Mongolia last year. But I think definitely one of the things that helped Ivanhoe, which is also a smallish company, is that they have a partner or a shareholder with a lot of muscle, and that's Rio Tinto. So it will be interesting to see how Khan, which is obviously a much smaller company, how they managed to get by in the situation.
Thank you very much for your time, Lizzo. That's the show for today. Join us next week for more news and insight on mining in the Americas. I'm Martin Joaquin in Johannesburg. Thank you.